having the school in mind, and especially getting, in my mind, the full ministry involved in the as far as the who. I'm thinking like late February, early March is really an ideal time because you've got half of the school year done,
Okay.
a little bit more than half the school year done, and so you that is very fresh on your mind. You've
Sure.
got a lot of those things like next year's tuition is set, and registration is probably either up and going or it's kind of done. So those kind of discussions can go
I don't
over
even
here.
think those discussions should be a part of this.
Right,
That's what
right.
I was trying to
That's
say,
that's what I'm thinking. Like
that's nitty-gritty.
we don't have to go there right
That
now.
was just my experience with something
Other
that
than-
was kind of close to
Yeah,
this.
other than
So,
like 5-year plan, we want to be paying our teachers this much money. You know,
Sure.
that kind of thing maybe would be part of that discussion. But if we're thinking vision of the school, which is definitely going to be deep diving into what we'll get into the what, but mission and how are we accomplishing the things that we want to accomplish, and or what do we want to accomplish? I think that is going to be a little bit more raw when you're in the thick of it, as opposed to we
Sure.
just went through a full year, and yeah, there were some things that were good, there were some things that were bad, and but when you're right in the middle of it, that also allows you to come back and perhaps even to start
yes.
putting those things into action right
I can
away
value
as
that,
you're
yep.
finishing a year, so
Absolutely.
that you could even fine tune some things
And finish strong.
to finish strong,
You
finish
strong. You
strong,
run through the
and
bag. Yeah, you don't stop
start
it.
strong.
Yeah.
Because we've done some things in the summertime, even as teacher retreats type stuff, which again this is not, but where we try to say, hey, we have this idea that we want to try to do, and when you try to put that idea into motion, when you're starting school, it's often really, really difficult. So to already give a couple weeks of putting some things into motion so that they can look back and say, okay, well, I'll do that a little bit differently
Yeah.
when I come back in the fall. So that's
I like
that's
that.
where I like that meeting landing somewhere around there. And you've got a lot of the busy holiday stuff done and out of the way come the end, and perhaps, and for even for me, like basketball season is done. Maybe you have spring sports that'll get started, but that time looks pretty inviting to me.
I would say you could probably make an argument for any time of the year.
I agree.
Probably
Yes.
You probably say even as the start of the year, like, look, I get this. How many times have you gone away to camp and you're like, I wish I could have come to camp sooner because I'm stronger for it.
Oh,
What if you
yeah.
got away that late August when everything's going nuts? I'm sure there's even value doing that because
yeah.
you're just sharper.
And I
So,
think it goes back to, again, who's going with you,
Yeah.
and what is your big focus.
we need to get to the focus.
Which that
Let's get there.
again, if I'm thinking perfect vision time,
Yeah.
I have to think you're always going to be starting with the mission of the school.
Okay.
I not
Which needs to
necessarily
be reviewed annually.
not
Which is supposed to
necessarily
review.
with the goal of fine tuning it or changing it, but looking at it and saying, first of all, do we still agree this is
Yeah.
who we are, this is what we're trying to accomplish, but then definitely an evaluation of how are we doing.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is where you have to start.
And how are we testing it? And how are we writing down how we're testing it? How are we affecting change to better test it and to better
Yeah.
assess ourselves for
Yeah.
accreditation?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think out of that, you can definitely go down the road of, how are we going to deal with discipline in the future? How are we going to deal with, academics? How are we going to, you're going to set the tone with that discussion. And once that's affirmed,
Yeah.
then you have clear guidance when you get into those other discussions. Like,
Yeah.
we're not just going to do this because we want to make more money, or we're not going to do this because we just don't like having to argue with parents. We're doing this because this is our mission.
Sure.
And so that is going to dictate what we ought to be doing.
I don't see how this comes away. I don't see how you come away from this meeting at whichever level it is with those under you or those who are your leaders and those who are truly like whole ministry mindset setting, and not have a calendar that comes away from this too.
Right.
I think scheduling is absolutely a part of this. And so there's a need to know what the schedule is going before, knowing what the traditional schedule would be. I'm thinking about if I was going to meeting, if I was in your seat, and I was meeting with, it would be a pastor, a youth pastor, the ministry heads as well as the head of the ministry, and I think the deacon head. I don't know how you could even start that without an understanding, because whatever comes out of that discussion is not just going to be with the pastor we have. Whatever comes out of the discussion is going to be boots on the ground action. Because if he goes away and it's all like, if in my perfect one, I might be okay with just this subjective. We didn't write everything down, but we all feel better about being a team and whatnot. If he went away and did that, he'd feel like he was wasting his time.
Right.
He would have to get something on paper.
There's got to be some
complete
action.
Waste of time. Yeah. So I don't, and there's nothing me. Of course, I value that. I think that it would be very difficult to not have walkaways of, here is a calendar which has been influenced by this meeting, and we are going to do these things, and these are deadlines we've set up, and these are, and these, I mean, in the 5-year plan, offers. That's why you have the 5-year plan. How do you have a 1 year, 5-year, 10-year plan for that sort of thing? So I think if you to further name this vision session, it would be like you said earlier, the 5-year, the 1 year, the 5-year, the 10-year planning vision set. Vision plan planning. Yeah,
because I mean that's going to dictate more of what you're going to be doing too. Because if it's just a 1 year thing, I'm assuming if you're only thinking 1 year, it's because you've got some serious changes that you're planning on making. You've got to start implementing those things right away. So come this time next year, we've got to see those changes. 5-year, 10 years, definitely going to be a lot more full ministry. Where are we going? Because we're going to be having to really think outside the box, and I keep coming back to, if you want to make any serious changes culturally within your school, you have to be thinking a minimum of 5 years. By that 5th year is where we're going to see it accepted, if we do things right. And if something doesn't happen correctly in those 4 years building up, you're pushing that 5th year out another year, every time that you're missing deadlines or whatever else. So yeah, coming up with, this is our 5-year plan. You have to have those calendars. You have to have the action plans. You have to have, here's what all is going to take place. So establishing that from the beginning is going to dictate a lot more of, again, the where, who, and what we're going to focus on.
We've done a lot of building, but we've got to wrap this up now.
It's time to be done. But that was, it's, if nothing else from this conversation, look at your ministry. Do you have these times?
Yeah.
Are these times that you would find valuable? I don't think
Tell us what
anybody
works for you.
listening to this would say, "No, that's not really that valuable."
Yeah, sure, exactly.
I would hope it's not, but we want to see our ministries grow stronger, and so here's just a way that I'm kind of salivating, thinking about how this could go off for our ministry, and I would love to see this happen for yours as well. So, but we've got to get to our spotlight segment.
All right.
Is time to let somebody shine.
It is time. It is time for Matt to talk to us about Mr. Jack Herbert.
Jack Herbert. Oh man, we go back a little ways. Mr. Herbert has been in Abilene, Kansas for many years. The administrator of Abilene Baptist Academy. He's also the president of Mid-American Association of, excuse me, let me start that over. President of Mid-America Association of Christian Schools out there in the Midwest. And he's also the father of a very good friend of ours, so we've already shouted out. So we didn't feel right just shouting out the son.
Yeah.
We gotta shout out Dad, because
Dad
he's
deserves
really
it.
the influencer,
Yeah,
right?
He's the progenitor.
But he
Paterfamilias.
has led that school for many years, and it's been awesome getting to know him through the years. Faithful in ministry, wanting to see kids grow in their relationship with the Lord. So we're just very thankful for administrators that have stuck it out for so long.
Yes.
Guys like Jack. And so thank you, Mr. Herbert, for all that you do out in Kansas.
All right. Now, we've had a lot to say, and we've said a lot. But we want to hear from you. So please, let us know what you're doing in your vision sessions.
Yeah.
We'd love to revisit this.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Share this video. Start over. Share this episode with others as well, so we can get their feedback. We want to see vision sessions happening all over this country that are taking our ministries to the next level.
Thanks for growing with us today.